Everything is just loading up really quickly. The next map is Red City. And again, this is a TVT. And so let's load up and let's get in here. We've got the loading screen going up. We will be in just a moment. Like I said, this is Red City. This is a great Terran map. You've got a lot of high ground for tanks. So I expect to see a lot of tanks going on. And so we've got Jockey versus ReivsIsland. And in the upper right-hand corner, we have our Terran player in blue, ReivsIsland. And over here in yellow, in the lower left-hand corner, we have our yellow Terran player, Jockey. Alright, in last game, it was ReivsIsland sweeping it out pretty well with a really good set of maneuvers. It was a little bit of a base race there for a while, but ReivsIsland having a little bit stronger army and being able to take out Jockey's drops, and so it was a pretty close game, but just a bit stronger there by ReivsIsland. We got the supply depots going down and a little bit of a nice zigzaggy motion going on. I like that rally point there, ReivsIsland. It's pretty neat. And this time, Jockey going to go ahead and drop that supply depot behind the mineral line. This will allow you to get back to mining a lot quicker, because this SCV doesn't have to move all the way back to the mineral patch from here. And you can see that this barracks looks like it's going to be dropped out here. So it defeats the purpose a little bit of having the supply depot in the back, but you know what? It's alright. It's his build. I'm going to let him do it. So here we go with this barracks being built right here. It doesn't look like there's too much cheese going on. No proxy barracks going on. But I mean, with a 4-player map, you're not going to see a whole lot of proxy racks going on unless you tried to drop it right here. You might be able to find your opponent a little bit faster that way. And so we've got an early gas here for Jockey. Pretty good choice in current TVT. I mean, you just have to have gas for basically everything early. Has 2 workers in here. Might want to get a third worker in here just to make sure that he's got optimal mining going on, but Terran being a very mineral-heavy race as opposed to a gas-heavy race, I mean, just not a huge deal. He's got enough for the early Reaper, so he's going to be able to scout out fairly well. And we've got Reapers coming out on both sides of the map, and we'll see what's going to happen next. Once they scout out that each player is going Reaper, maybe they'll meet up in the middle right here, and maybe they'll take each other out. That'd be interesting. Maybe a little Reaper versus Reaper micro. May the best Reaper win, good sirs. And we'll see how it goes. First Reaper on the way. Nope, that is an SCV for sure. ReivsIsland got the first Reaper out, and looks like Jockey going to go across the map or just stay at the top of his ramp. Looks like ReivsIsland is going to build a second Reaper, and both players might be scouting in the same direction. Looks like they're both going to go up in this corner, up in the upper left-hand corner, and might meet up for a Reaper versus Reaper matchup. It'll be interesting to see how that goes out. They look like they're just barely going to miss each other. Oh my goodness. Just barely missed. And we'll see what he can see. We'll see how that goes out. And man, just Reapers going all the way around for both players. It's going to be Reaper versus Reaper for a little bit, it looks like. This is a great Reaper map. There's a lot of area that you can jump in. And Reapers will defend pretty well against other Reapers. And it looks like we're going to have to see some micro here. ReivsIsland losing the first Reaper. But he's got a bunch more streaming across the map. You can see this SCV going back. He did not get a whole lot done. And Jockey making sure that there's no sort of proxy going down right here at his third base. Wants to make sure that he's not going to have anything going on. Let's stop the music real quick. I do love Pokemon, but I gotta say, I'm in the mood for StarCraft. Love you, Pokemon, but we're playing StarCraft today. Alright, everybody. So, while we've got these Reaper versus Reaper going on, let's just take a moment and enjoy everything that's going on. Got the Reapers jumping up. It's a picturesque place. It looks like Mars or Colorado, maybe, with the red soil. We got a bunch of Reapers. They've got pistols. They shoot 2 shots apiece. Got a few Marines just to help out with the DPS, because they do shoot just a little bit faster. .86. versus that 1.1. And you can see that they do 8 damage with those 2 attacks at 4 each, and these do 6. So Reapers do a little bit more damage, but Marines do pick them off a little bit faster. These Reapers going to deny this expansion right here, and they might even get the cancel off. But these Reapers not getting a whole lot of micro, just going to be picked off, losing a couple Reapers. And now these Reapers are going to jump up. A couple get taken out. Maybe going to chase him down, but it looks like he's going to run away. Brave Sir Robin bravely ran away. Looks like we're going to lose a couple more Reapers here in this Reaper versus Reaper. This Reaper needs to get ahead into the fight, but he's not going to. He's just going to chill out right here. This Reaper, right here. He's scared, man. Scared. Just a little bit scared. It's alright, buddy. You'll be alright. I mean, let's even see what he can see. Nothing. Just going to chill out right here. Scared little Reaper. It's alright, buddy. Brave Sir Robin. Scan going down to reveal basically everything. That was a great scan right there. ReivsIsland having everything revealed to Jockey here. Jockey with a little bit of a supply disadvantage. Especially with this Reaper right here, not doing much of anything. This Reaper over here making sure that we're not going to see any ninja expansions, that's for sure. At least not in that particular base. We got more barracks coming out. Not a whole lot of tanks being produced right now, and by not a lot, I mean 0 tanks being produced. We got 2 engineering bays, so we can get double upgrades, and it looks like that's going to be a reactor dropping down. There we go, another reactor. We got a starport. There we go. We got Reapers going across the map just to make sure that he sees everything that's going to go on. We got a yellow Reaper going across the map as well. It looks like that one Reaper either got picked off or decided that he wanted to be useful. Silly Reaper. Tricks are for kids. Looks like that Reaper going to be picked off by a bunch of Marines, which is disappointing. He could have just jumped up the cliff and saved himself a little bit of hassle. Would have been able to see basically everything that was going on. Now ReivsIsland has to decide, does he want to send in another Reaper, does he want to scan, or does he want to play blind? Because just going off of what he can see right now, ReivsIsland sees basically nothing. He should know that there's an expansion right here. Just because that bunker is down, you're not going to set a bunker in a place just for nothing. So right now, everybody's just going to sit back and macro instead of focusing so much on micro. This Reaper right here in a pretty good position, going to be able to see if there's any sort of third base going on. This third base might be a decent choice. It's a little bit closer by ground. This might be a little bit better by air, but with a decent amount of choke points in through here, third bases just aren't a huge thing that are great. I'm a Zerg player, okay, so I want wide open spaces. This seems awful for a third base for me. This seems awful for a third base for me. This huge ramp, awful for a third base. This third base might be a little bit better just because it's got the rocks there, a little bit better protected, and you can set tanks on the high ground so that if you want to march out. So there we go, Jockey picking the open one with the ramp instead of, well, actually, looking at it, he doesn't have rocks on that side. Oh, there is that ramp right there. Not too familiar with this map just because I have it blocked. I don't like it, rocks on each side. So I guess it's just pretty much even. You want to see how far away from your opponent you can be. This one being stuck out just a little bit longer. You can see that there's a little bit of a gap right here. But, you know, with this factory here, rather, it just feels a little bit safer. You've got a little bit better vision. Dropships going around the long way. And Jockey's got his army out of position, so this drop may do a lot of damage. Looks like a scan going down to see where the army is, sees that there's not a whole lot to be here, or a lot to be seen right here. Army might be moving across, might be out of position, you don't know. There's a drop going across now for Jockey, so it's going to be another drop versus drop type of thing. Sensor tower going to be able to spot this. Army's going to be recoiled into the main base. Might be able to pick off a medevac a little bit early, or at least pick off the units as they're falling down out of the sky. You can see the medevacs are now coming back to help everything out, but this drop should be cleaned up fairly well. There was a Hellbat that was cleaned out, but it looks like Jockey has sacrificed most of his SCVs to hold off this attack. And looking at the income, that's a huge drop, or at least it was. Looks like Mules might be able to hold him in, but no. Smartly, he has pulled the SCVs down to the natural expansion. Good job, Jockey, even tricking me out. So we're going to follow these drop ships. Ooh, not the rocks. We want to follow the drop ships here. Drop ships going across and going to drop into the main, or maybe even the natural, I guess, base of ReivsIsland, boosting there to get there a little bit faster. And without any sort of real detection going on, no sort of watchtowers selected, and he's got the sensor tower here, but the drop is on the other side. So he's not going to be able to see this going on. He's going to be able to drop pretty much uncontested here. Jockey's going to have a great chance of taking out a lot of SCVs. A little bit of reaction time. ReivsIsland not pulling any SCVs. He's going to say, you know what? I'm going to deal with this the hard way. But he clears it out really effectively. Only lost a few SCVs there, and you can see that Jockey only clears out 4 SCVs to the 14 that ReivsIsland has killed. Pretty effective there. Make sure not to attack with any of the SCVs. You really only want to do that in a situation where you've got no other chance. But Jockey, you know what? He's got a third base. His econ is going to be ramping up really effectively, as you can see over here. 15 to 14. Jumping up quite a bit with mules. So let's just say that Jockey's got the advantage over here. If he can get, if he can make this economic advantage work for him, splitting up an army just a little bit, you can see that ReivsIsland backing out, seeing those Hellbats right there. Hellbats do a lot of damage against Marines. Look at that, 30 damage versus light. Even Marines with combat shields still only have 55 health. It's about 2 shots on that Marine. 2 shots. And he's going to be taken out even with combat shields and upgrades. But looking at the upgrades, you can see ReivsIsland has a little bit of an upgrade advantage. And these dropships over here are going to be able to drop in up on this this cliff right here. But jumping in, if Jockey's paying attention to his minimap, he can see this drop happening. And ReivsIsland going to have a little bit of time, a little bit of free time, just to do as much damage as he can. The stim in to take this out. Needs to pick off the medevacs so that they can't heal everything and so that they can't run away. You've got the Hellbats that'll be able to damage everything else. Opening up this area right here by lifting up this orbital command. And what a sweet little drop that was, to drop this Hellbat from behind and do as much damage. The medevacs are going to scamper their way home. But they are empty. Empty and solemn for sure. Got a few Marines that are going to be able to see that these medevacs are on their way back home. They might be able to try and pick them off, but they're deciding against it, as they don't know if there's anything in there. Looks like ReivsIsland adding in a few Marauders here. Marauders are going to be able to take a lot of damage from Hellbats, but Hellbats are still going to do a lot of damage versus the Marauders. Marauders have a lot more health than the Marines, and they are armored. So they don't take as much damage, but they don't deal as much damage because they deal a lot more damage to the armored units. You can see there 12 damage at a speed of 1.5. Marines will out-DPS them just a little bit against the Hellbats, but there aren't too many Hellbats out there. So Marine Marauder, we got the Triple M. And without any Widow Mines, there's not a whole lot of defense back at the bases. And so ReivsIsland got another set of bases here. He's on 4 bases, where Jockey is still on 3. Hasn't secured that 4th base. Stim in, move in here, and let's see how this is going to play out. It looks like ReivsIsland is going to have a little bit of an advantage because he still had that little bit of an upgrade advantage. That Hellbat gets taken out really quickly, really early on. That medevac lifts out of there with a few Marines inside, but not a whole lot. Marine and a Marauder and a couple Marines. Jockey's economic advantage is slowly fading away. He needs more production to be able to utilize all of this. ReivsIsland with a little bit extra gas that he needs to find a way to sink into something. Marine and Marauder don't take up a whole lot of gas. You need to occupy this bunker so that you can take out a little bit extra. It adds a little bit extra armor, so Marauders can focus fire that instead. That's basically a second life for all these units. And it looks like ReivsIsland going to have to back out. Jockey doing a great job to deny that. And it looks like Jockey loading up for another drop, going to chase that down and be able to drop into the main base of ReivsIsland, or even deny a little bit here. ReivsIsland shooting out this SCV. Jockey doing a great job of scouting, making sure that he's sending SCVs across the map. This base right here could be denied really early, but it's not going to be able to do too much as far as economic-wise. ReivsIsland, if he's paying attention to the minimap, going to be able to pick off these medevacs before they get anywhere, and he's doing a great job of getting there. And they boost out of the way to safety. Jockey, good job saving those 2 medevacs. ReivsIsland looks like he's going to move out across the map. And Jockey needs to be able to drop these somewhere safe because these missile turrets are going to be able to do a lot of damage. ReivsIsland moving in for a counterattack because he sees that there's no army here. He saw the medevacs moving in. Main base over here. Jockey looks like he's going to move in. ReivsIsland there to meet him, and then moving into the bases of Jockey. Excuse me, guys. Stim there to clear out everything else, and it looks like ReivsIsland is going to sweep this 2-0 right now. Jockey doing a great job of having an economic lead, but not being able to supply that with enough production. Interesting TVT here with basically just mass Marine Marauder. But don't count Jockey out just yet until the GG, so I guess you do have to count him out. Good game there indeed. Well played by both players. I like what you done there. Good game to both players. And I'm going to go get myself another drink real quick. I will be right back.